Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Grueling True Sports Network. I am your co-host, Mike Goodpaster, along with Indiana basketball, we'll call him a legend since he bought his way into the Hall of Fame, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing good, Another win, another day, another dollar. A lot of cliches you could throw at this one, but it's winning is good in the Big Ten this time of year.
It's good anywhere at any time of the year. And remember, we are brought to you, powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at betting.net. All right, Steve, as always, it's Indiana basketball, so it wasn't pretty, but at the end, it was effective. And the thing that's impressive to me about this team, and I know a lot of people complain because they're not playing at their best, they're also not full strength. But the thing that impresses me is this team has a way of keeping themselves in ball games and then at the end almost willing themselves to win the game.
Yeah, and I think that's what's making this such a. Hang on, let me get out of here. Forgot to do that. That's the marker of this basketball team is that they have shortcomings every game. It seems they haven't played a perfect game in a while. They're going to have to coming up this week, and we'll get into that a little bit farther down the road, I'm sure. But they just have this indomitable will to win, and it's sticking with them throughout, and they're just willing themselves to stay in games until good things happen to them. If you do that, 9 out of 10 times, good things are going to happen to you. And they had some good breaks toward the end of the game that really helped them out.
Yeah, and the guy who really stepped up here is Miller Kopp.
Yeah.
Really struggled against Northwestern. His performance at Welsh Ryan Arena was even tougher for Kopp because you had all the profanity-laced cheers that rained down on him from the idiotic Northwestern students for most of the game. But Kopp put that performance behind him on Saturday, shot 6 for 7 from the field, 4 or 5 from three-point range in 31 minutes. Through 16 Big Ten games, Kopp is now 27 for 47, over 50% on three-point shot, which ranks second best in the league. And I mean, really, we know Trace Jackson Davis is going to play well, but if you really needed to pick another guy out that really needs to come through, because you got a two-man team right now, the third man here could be Miller Kopp if he could consistently shoot the ball the way he did on Saturday against Illinois.
Well, that was one of my three keys to the game, and we'll get into that. But what I need to see now is Miller develop. He's shown he's got the talent to do it. Now let's see the consistency to use that talent in every game. Because I'm going to tell you right now, despite what you want to say and argue with me, here on out they're going to need that. They're going to need somebody to come up. And
why would I argue with that?
Well, you've said
I never argued with that before.
Shot.
I don't. Fuck, he shot 3. He shot 5, Steve. It's not like he
That's
shot.
What I'm
20.
saying.
There's no reason to shoot 20.
But there may come a game. Well, anyway, I don't want to get into that. We've debated that till we
put it like this. I will say this: the reason I argue with you is this: if there comes a game where he needs to shoot 10 and make 70%, I believe Miller Kopp will. I think this team shoots the ball just fine from 2 and 3-point range because they let the game come to them. They don't force shots.
I was in the middle of saying something, and just once again got rudely interrupted.
Yeah, because you gave me some bullshit that I don't think they need a third player to score.
You don't agree with is bullshit.
Well, you're bullshit right now because
okay,
it's obvious that you can't win a basketball game with just two guys scoring all the time.
Go ahead. It's your show.
No, I just made my comment. Go ahead.
I'm off track. Go ahead and start a new subject.
Well, you look at the defensive end. They had no answers for Matthew Mayer in the first half. The Baylor transfer was on a roll offensively, scored 16 points on 6 for 10 shooting in the first half. Woodson admitted in the postgame that he gave Miller Kopp an earful at halftime for his defense on Meyer in the first 20 minutes. But to Indiana's credit, the Hoosiers were much more aggressive and cohesive defensively in the second half. Mayer made only one field goal in the second half. And Steve, I think this goes back to coaching. I mean, Woodson makes the right adjustments at halftime, while that one douchebag from Illinois didn't.
Yeah, perimeter defense has been, in my eyes, a weakness for this basketball team most of the season, and I think that Woody is starting to make some adjustments and starting to harp on it a lot more in the games to get them to get out and pressure other teams' three-point shooting, who will take 20, 30 three-point shots a game. Whether it's, in your eyes, it's right or wrong, so be it. But regardless, other teams are more adept at it than we are. And we've got to be able to shut them down. And I like to see the fact that we did get out in the second half, put pressure on the perimeter a lot more than we had earlier in the ball game, and more than we've done all season. And I think that was a definite key to pulling us through in the second half and keeping us in the game, is by shutting down a lot of their perimeter game.
Yeah, and Jalen Hood-Schifino, he struggled at times, shined late in the game. The freshman guard was just 1 for 8 in the first half. His shot selection was questionable at best. But, I mean, the thing that stood out to me was he makes the horrible turnover around the 2 or 3 minute mark, which ties the game up. And then he immediately comes down and hits the next shot. I think it's like a 15-foot jump shot that tied the game with a little over a minute left at 67. And when you look at that, I mean, he's a freshman. He makes mistakes, but he's a bit, as Dick Vitale, your buddy, would say, he's a PTPer, because when the game's on the line, Jalen Hood-Schifino got it done.
Yeah, I think Schifino right now, in my eyes right now, is a wannabe heir apparent to the star of the team next year.
He won't be here next year.
You don't think so?
No, he'll be a lottery pick in the NBA.
Schifino?
Oh, yeah. Right now, most mock drafts you see, he goes in the top 12.
Okay. Well,
I don't see it either, Steve.
I don't follow the NBA, so I'm not privy to that.
I don't either, but I did look up at a early mock draft, and I think the mock draft I looked at 2. One had him going at 7, Steve, and one at 10. I don't see it either. I do see the ability a couple years from now, but I think
he's got seasoning he needs to do, and I took it as watching him play, especially against Illinois, that he was making some moves, and I'm like, why, as a freshman, when you've got Trace Jackson-Davis on your team, you win games by controlling offenses? Why are they letting him run hog wild? And while he was connecting this time and doing things, if you allow that behavior to go on, there's going to come a time when he's like an ice cube or a brick, and it's going to cost your team a game. And I just took it as, in my opinion, looking at this guy and looking at other players come through the system over the years at Indiana, or in any college, it's not just Indiana. He's a kid who sees that Jackson Davis is out of here next year no matter what, and he's going to be heir apparent to the team. Now, if he's going NBA, then that's a whole different can of worms. Maybe he's trying to get his superstardom and his draft acumen jumped right now. But he while he's a tremendous asset to this basketball team right now, he can quickly become the liability of this basketball team faster than any other player, because he's going to play like he's playing every game. And that if he's playing like he did against Illinois, that's a good thing.
In the second half.
We, like you said, we need that. We need somebody else other than Trace to do it. Race, I don't know if he's going to ever be back to where he was before his knee injury. I think you can write Johnson off for the most part. He'll come back and he'll contribute and play, but he'll never, Johnson will never be the player.
I don't know.
There's not enough time for him to get back to playing like that. He's capable.
He's got 2 weeks.
That's not enough time to get yourself into tournament shape. Trust me, Mike, I've been there, done that.
Oh, bullshit, Steve, because you told me the other day that you could play all day.
Yeah, well, play at that high of level.
That's what I said the other day, and you gave me shit about it.
Coming off an injury.
I think this, though. I think this, though. I think when you look at it, if he could get back for the last 2 games at home and then a couple games in the Big Ten tournament. I don't think it is beyond comprehension because I'm sure he's not gotten completely out of shape. I know he's not been able to run, but I still think he could give you a solid 20 minutes by the time you get to the first round of the NCAA tournament.
I think he's going to be a contributing body on the court, probably like a Tamar Bates or someone like that. Tamar's not a kid. He's going to come in and
actually right now, I'm sorry,
you.
but Xavier Johnson is contributing about as much as Tamar Bates is right now.
Yeah. Well, and I that's what I'm looking at, and it's just because of the shortness in time, not because I don't think he has the ability. But we don't need to harp on him right now. The Hoosiers don't have him at their disposal. I'd like to see him get Race back in shape. They're going to need Race playing at a higher level than he is. I was really pleased to see Miller do what he did coming off the Illinois debacle, how he handled that, going 4 for 5 from the stripe. I'm a bigger proponent of the importance of the 3-point play than you are right now. I get that. I think
I know how important it is. I kind of like to see a team that doesn't just jack them up.
Sure.
They shoot
what I like
and
and what they
them.
need to win are two different things.
Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. won the Daytona 500 yesterday either, and he deserved it. But my boy Chase Elliott finished second to dead ass last. So
nobody cares about a sporting event where they don't even finish it on the last lap and they declare a winner. All right, so
but anyway, 3 takeaways to this game in my book. Winning ugly. IU just shot 43% from the field, and they had 14 turnovers. That's a high mark for them in a while. A lot of turnovers, not their best shooting night. But the things they were able to do was to maintain their focus, stay with it, grind a lot, took Illinois out of its offense a lot, especially with their perimeter defensive
in the second half. Yeah,
in the second half when it mattered. I thought that was one key, was that this team can win ugly. It does that.
But let me ask you this, Steve, real quick. You just brought it up.
I got 2 more keys to the game.
I know, but I'm going to forget what I asked you. But go ahead.
No, go ahead and ask your question.
Well, I was going to ask you this. They seem to struggle in the first half big time. And you said in the second half when it matters. But we saw that struggle 2 games ago against Northwestern actually lose us that game. I mean, what can they do to get off to better starts? Because this seems to be something that's becoming kind of a habit to play really bad in the first half and then come storming back in the second half. And that's not going to work come March Madness time.
Yeah, that's the $10 question. And I've been wrangling with that one, trying to come up because I figured that would come up in our conversation at some point in time. I don't know what I without knowing this team and knowing the personalities and going to watch a practice or anything of that nature, I say this falls a little bit on the coaching. If you and I are seeing the fact that it's a slow starting team, and that you're right, in a tournament that can get you into big time trouble, because if you don't have the monumental second half and come back and grind your way back into it, you're dead. You're dead in the water at halftime. And Indiana is putting itself in that position far more comfortably than I'd like to see them do it. They just seem to be a slow, sluggish starting team. I like the things they do early in the game. They dump it in a lot more to TJ Trace a lot, and then Schifino tends to take him away from that a little bit as he decides he wants his points. The defense starts double teaming on Trace and taking him a little bit out of the game, and we're adapting. Well, Miller comes up and goes 4 for 5 from the arc. Schifino has a decent game, but we do make mistakes. We have turnovers, like I said, and a poor shooting game predicated a lot, I think, in the first half. So I don't have a direct answer for you on that one, Mike. That's a great question, and something, if anybody's got something they can write in and got a suggestion as to what we can do. I mean, I've got, I can text Mike and Tell him that one of our listeners said that we ought to try this to get us off.
I'll
to a
accept Joe
faster start.
Spellman. Joe, please do not message in. Go ahead.
Yeah. Spillman, I don't give a lot of credibility to anything Spillman says anyway.
Oh, that was mean.
Yeah, I know. Well, he's not my friend anymore.
Why not, Steve?
So I don't know.
Okay. What a
I
sign.
don't know. I'm just off of it for right now.
You're in a bad mood. All right.
I know. I'm in a bad mood.
Let's go ahead.
Another bad earthquake in Turkey today. So
as long as it stays in Turkey.
Yeah, well, that's not good for those people.
I know.
But winning ugly was a key to this game. They grounded out again. Secondly, I think we need to talk about second chance points. Indiana had 15 offensive rebounds, and they scored 18 points off those. All off the second chances, and so that's critical. That's where Race Thompson. If we can get him more active, and Trace is battling those boards as hard as anybody. Shafino's good at getting in there. Kopp gets in there a lot. Galloway, we got scrappers on the offensive boards. They crash them. Galloway may be the best there is on the team, aside from Trace. And
Malik Renew's done a good job too. I think.
Who has?
Malik Renew. I think he made a few plays, especially the one I remember was where he tapped the ball to Trace in the last 5 minutes, turned into points.
Yeah, it's a strength this team has, is crashing the offensive boards. And good golly, that's a weakness of 90% of basketball teams. They tend to run down and want to set up defensively.
Well, how about this? This is a great segue for this. They play Michigan State next. Michigan State played great for 37 minutes against Michigan. And then they got completely blown out on a 12-0 run at the end. But the thing that stood out to me when I look at the stats for Michigan State, the Wolverines out-rebounded them 38-25. And basically, Michigan State completely outplayed Michigan for 37 minutes. But they were stuck in a tie because they got out-rebounded 38-25, and those second-chance points killed them.
Well, I think that's our strength against Michigan State. It will be our second chance points, because I don't think Michigan State can handle us there. You can bet Izzo's going to come up with some kind of defense to slow down Trace. But second chance points, that's a 5-man effort, and I don't think that Tom's got enough strength or talent in his team to stop all 5 of our guys crashing the boards like we're capable of doing. And I'm sorry for interrupting you. Go ahead.
I didn't know you interrupted me.
I did interrupt you. I apologize.
Hell, I don't care. I didn't even realize you did. All right. So when we look at this game, Michigan State this year is 10-2 at home. I think they're 16
my third key.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my third was Miller Kopp.
That time you interrupted me. Go ahead.
I apologize. Well, I wanted to get my 3 keys to the game out, and the third was Miller Kopp hitting the clutch threes, and that made the game fun for me to watch, just because I felt more assured that we have that ability now.
I told you before we did. They shoot at a high percentage. They just don't shoot.
I've known you for a long time, and you've lied to me more times than you've told me the truth. So,
like when?
I'm not going to get into the details of our dirty laundry.
Because there are none.
On IU Basketball Radio. We'll save that for our championship wrestling show.
Are we going to wrestle? I'm not wearing
a
singlet.
No, we're not.
We're not wearing a singlet. All right.
We will take each other on in cornhole someday.
I will destroy you.
Yeah,
but
we've got coming from Aurora, Indiana, I would say you would probably destroy me.
Well, I mean, if we look at the history of you in Aurora, Indiana, you've never turned up a winner on that one. All right, so when we look at this, the Michigan State Spartans, they defend a 3 better than anybody in the Big Ten. They also excel at making threes, hitting 37%, which is the 45th highest clip in the country.
Mm-hmm. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because the key word there that you said is 3. We're not a team that's built around the 3-pointer. So I'm glad we can shoot it. And I'm sure Tom Izzo sees the fact that we're not a team that's built around the 3-pointer either. We're built around our inside play.
Yeah, and that's the problem, because the matchup here, I think, favors Indiana big time, just because of the rebounding ability. And this is going to come down to, can Indiana defend the three, and can they close out? Can they harass shooters? So Penn State shoots less. If Penn State shoots less than 30% from 3-point range, Indiana wins this game. If they get up to where they're shooting 35, even 33% as much as they shoot them, I think Indiana could have a problem because, the defense on the three is going to be huge in this game. And it's also going to be, can Michigan State guard Indiana down below? Because I don't think they have the horses, even if they double Trace. And I think if Race is getting better instead of worse.
Race is the key to this game.
I think Race and Malik Renew will have huge impacts on this game.
They have
especially Malik Renew. That's the guy to look for here. I think Malik against Michigan State, I think you're going to look at 10 points, 7 rebounds. I think he's going to have a great game for him in the amount of time he's in the game. The other thing that this team needs to do is they need Tamar Bates or Jordan Geronimo, preferably both, but at least one of them to really pick it up and start to play well, because we saw last year what Jordan Geronimo, the effect he has on this team when he comes in and he plays with energy and he plays well. We also know the effect when he doesn't. You're just down to 2 or 3 guys scoring. So him and Tamar Bates we got to get something out of those guys, especially with no Xavier right now.
Yeah, well, that ties into a question I have for you, Mike, and let me address this one here. How concerned are you if you look at the box score? We only got 7 players who are getting 90% of the minutes. Are we wearing these kids out?
Well, I think
we've got 2 huge games coming up here on the road, so they're sleeping in hotels pretty much all week. I imagine they'll go home after Michigan State and then come back to West Lafayette. And then right next weekend, they're going to have the Big Ten tournament. But we're playing pretty much with no more than 7 kids. And if you look at the box score, there's a lot of minutes divided up among you got Trace getting 37, 38 minutes. What's his name?
We had Trace with 37, Miller Kopp with 31, Jalen Hood-Schifino 37, Trey Galloway 31.
Okay, go ahead and address that, because I think that's a little bit of a
how about this,
slip
Steve?
in my mind, at least right now.
I would be fine with it, but the only issue here is they're not playing with 7, they're playing with 6, because you're not getting hardly anything out of Tamar Bates.
Right.
If you were getting something out of Bates and
Geronimo, 17 minutes out of him, but you got minutes.
Yeah, but he
really is all you got.
Yeah, it was he just took up space.
Floor time. It was floor time.
Malik Renew, I think, was effective when he was in there. He wasn't great, but he was effective. He's always consistent. He's always effective. But the one that gets me is Jordan Geronimo, because I think that Jordan Geronimo gets in the game, he plays 4 minutes, he doesn't do anything, they just take him out, roll with what they got. I would rather go, I'm good with 6 or 7 guys. I've seen teams win national championships with only 6 or 7 guys. The only thing that scares the hell out of me is the first time Trace Jackson Davis gets whistled for a 3rd foul with 8 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah.
Because who's going to pick up that slack?
Well,
because what I think happens then is Jalen Hood-Schifino just starts shooting a damn ball all the time.
Well, and if he's hot, that's okay, because I think Schifino's got the capability to carry the load.
We've also seen him with the capability to go 1 for 14.
That's a case where if Trace would get 2 fouls halfway through the first half or something, you got to sit him for a few minutes, but you can't sit him the whole rest of the second half. We don't have that luxury because we're playing with 6 guys essentially. You're going to have to put him back in and build the defense to protect him. And you're going to have to go to Race Thompson and say, Race, you've got to not only defend your defender who you're playing against, you've got to protect and defend Trace Jackson Davis, because you can't let him get that 3rd foul, until we're into the 3rd quarter. It just can't be done. So that's a coaching dilemma for Coach Woodson. And let's hope we can avoid that. And let's hope that's being talked about in the locker room right now. That these next 2 games are critical to keep TJD out of foul trouble. More so than any games, because now we're talking about top 4 seeds potentially. Indiana was mentioned. by the
Yeah, they're
NCAA.
still from
And
what they're still ranked like 16th or 17th because
I
I
didn't
think
see the
they
rankings come out yet this
yeah,
week.
what
So
that's not the same thing as what they did
that's what the
then.
NCAA does. Lenardi and
Yeah,
them
this
both
is
have
they
Indiana pegged into the top 16 right
yeah,
now.
but I mean, with the AP poll
And that
came
was
out,
after the Northwestern loss.
the AP poll came out. Indiana was 17th. The issue
Yeah,
I
well,
have is Michigan's 21. To me, that's an utter joke
Michigan or
because,
Michigan State?
or not Michigan, Northwestern is 21.
Northwestern. I think they're
And
better than Indiana.
yeah, I mean, they've beaten us twice. I know they were
Yeah,
close
well,
games, but they've beaten Purdue.
Mike, that's
I
the
mean,
story of the polls. They mean nothing. Really, we never
yeah,
address
but
the
this is the
polls
problem.
in
The top
college.
16 thing did matter, and Northwestern wasn't in it. And
Yeah,
Northwestern, their body of work, they're a damn good basketball team.
they are a damn good basketball. They proved
And
it to us twice this year.
yeah, I mean, because right now, when I did the Big Ten power rankings today, Purdue 1, Northwestern 2, Indiana 3.
Free, yeah, that's fair.
And, Maryland 4, that's not the top 4 we'd have thought of.
No, not at
Illinois
all.
at 5. And really, I mean, teams that could make a run to the Sweet 16,
Right.
I think there's 4 in the Big Ten this year. I think that Purdue, Northwestern, Indiana, Maryland all could. The thing that scares me if I'm a Big Ten fan, just general Big Ten fan, is the fact that all 4 of those teams could be out before the first weekend's over also because of the issues that they have. Indiana's is depth. Maryland doesn't play well on the road, which is scary. Northwestern, let's face it, they're Northwestern, so they scare you. Purdue scares you because the last time they made the Final Four was 1980, and I think the Flintstones might have still been on.
Or I was playing one of the two.
Well, you played with the Flintstones, I think.
There
Didn't you
go.
play
Yabba
against
dabba doo,
Barney?
baby.
You played against Barney and Fred at a charity game back in the
I
late
did.
70s.
Yeah. Old Twinkle Toes Flintstone.
And the good thing was, though, when you shot bricks, it was no big deal because then people could take them and build their houses and their cars.
I think I had a dog named Dino too.
That's a good name for a dog, though.
It is a great name for a dog.
All right, so what do you think happens? Indiana versus Michigan State. Hoosiers win?
Well, the one thing, and I don't want to bring this up, is this their first home game since the shooting at Michigan State?
I know they played at Michigan. I think the other game was canceled, so it probably was. So with something like that,
be an emotional game.
Yeah,
but
I
don't want to ever put emotion, outside influence into a game. I don't like doing that. But I don't know. It's just one of those unknown factors you don't know. It'll either have no effect on the game whatsoever,
or it'll have a massive effect. It's one of the two. You don't know how they're going to react.
You don't know how they're going to react,
and that massive effect could be negative too. So
it could be.
Don't really know.
It could be so down in the dumps over it happening.
Well, how many times have you seen a big underdog that gets to play a big time program like a Kentucky or a Duke? They're playing them at home. Everybody's all jacked up, and they get so tight that they get blown out.
Yeah, I will say this. I think that if Indiana continues to do what it's done in the last half of the Big Ten season, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're a better team than Michigan State. I think as long as Mike doesn't make any major coaching mistakes, which he's shown he really hasn't in the recent future or recent past, I think Indiana will be fine. I think they have enough variables like the second chance points, perimeter defense, their tenacity, just in their willingness to keep gut checking and doing what they got to do and not be willing to fold. If they keep that stuff up, that's enough bullets in their chamber to go ahead and go ahead and bring this thing home. And that probably was an awful thing to use as an analogy. Now that I think about it, I apologize for that.
Oh, I wasn't even listening. Did you make a gun analogy?
I made a gun analogy, which was I very much apologize for that. That was very inappropriate. So I think if Indiana does what it has been doing, I think Indiana will win this game. And then we can talk about Purdue in a post-game Michigan State game.
And we will discuss that Wednesday during the day. What do you say about 2:00, Steve?
That's game by me. I'm good.
2:00 Eastern, we'll have the Indiana win over Michigan State recap. We will preview the Purdue game on Saturday, which is a nationally televised game in prime time. And
Yeah,
that
7:30
will be
on
a big
Fox
game.
TV.
We're not going to talk anymore about that game because we don't want to overlook Michigan State.
No, I
even though
don't
we're
want
not
to, because
playing.
you cannot overlook a Tom Izzo coach basketball team this time of year.
This
You
time of
can't
year,
do it.
you can't overlook anybody that's 16-10 and fighting for their tournament lives.
Right.
And
But
luckily,
then Tom Izzo is their ace in the hole. The guy knows how to coach this time
what
of
is this,
year.
like the first time in like 7 or 8 years where we're not doing a bubble watch right now?
Yeah, how good does that feel? Where
It
is
ain't
Tom
bad.
Crean anyway?
Hey, don't rip Tom Crean. Bring up Archie Miller.
Archie Miller, yeah, boy.
Yeah, Tom Crean had some good years. All right, Steve, I want to
The
remind
Dayton
everybody.
Flyer, he flew right out of here, didn't he?
Betting.net finds the best promotions, offers, and bonus codes so you don't have to. Head over to their website now to take advantage of things like free bets and matching deposits. All right, Steve, we're going to go ahead and wrap the show up. Me and Steve will be back Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern time to recap the Michigan State game. Follow us at Grueling Truth. Make sure you like, subscribe. Definitely hit the like button so this pushes the algorithm to get us out there more. And also make sure you check out the Got Woodson page on Facebook run by Brian Moore. He does a great job there. A lot of great IU content there, except for Tom Brew. I don't like that guy, but I can't help it. I mean, I just remember the article he wrote, Trash and Night.
You know,
and he's 70 years old, and these people will make comments, and he'll just make these
IU books
smart
out
ass.
there
Good for him. I wrote a book too. Anybody can write a book.
You wrote a book?
I wrote a book. You can go on Amazon and find it. It's called The Rage Within.
Oh, well, that would be you.
No, it was the name of the team. It was about the Evansville Rage indoor football, and it gets 5-star ratings too.
So does Cat in the Hat.
Well, yeah, because Cat in the Hat's freaking awesome.
It is.
Because I think I heard that like the three greatest books of all the time were like War and Peace, Cat in the Hat, and Rage Within.
Where's the
Not
Bible
necessarily.
Where's the Bible fit in all that?
I think the Bible is beyond books.
Okay.
See, you thought you were going to get me. Didn't work.
So so you're saying it's a scroll?
No, I'm saying it's all by itself.
Okay.
But I don't think we're going to lump it in with, me, the Cat in the Hat, and War and Peace. All right. No. I'm just saying that. All right, guys.
Season on the Brink was pretty good too.
That was a great book. John Feinstein. It still sucked, though. He still ripped Night, even though it was probably all true.
It was all true. Trust me, I read it.
I know, but I would rather just think it was probably true. That gives it a chance that it wasn't.
I'm telling you, it was true.
I know it was true, Steve. But I was just telling you, I was hoping it wouldn't be. But I read that in my junior year in high school instead of paying attention in English, math, and history class.
That's the only book I've ever written cover to cover in one sitting.
It was a good book.
Yeah, I'd never put it down. One night I just picked it up, got it.
We did reading there laughing because he treated some other guys better than
I got a signed copy from John. He gave us each one in the locker room.
Get Bobby to sign it and you'll have something.
Oh, you ain't going to sign that book, trust me.
I know, that's what I'm saying. He'd probably shove it up your ass and say, get lost, Risley.
One time I did take 3 pictures of him to him and ask him to sign of him throwing the chair. And I was scared to death to do that.
He probably signed those, didn't he?
He signed them.
Yeah,
he signed him and laughed and made a joke about it.
Yeah, the little old lady catching the chair.
I was like, I was shaking going in. And this was after I'd graduated. And I took him in there and I said, Coach, I got 3 alumni that want a copy of this. And he just made some joke and signed them cheerily. And we shot the shit for a couple minutes.
You just luckily got him
out of his life.
You luckily got him on a good day as my guest. There's some days you may not have wanted to take that time.
If I could tell right away whether you wanted to ask him to sign him or not. I asked Mary Ann, I said, is he in a decent mood? And she said, yeah, he's in a pretty good mood today. I said, good. Because I had to clear it through Mary Ann first.
Well, and Gilligan. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up the show.
And those were actually 3 pictures that were not signed by Mary Ann.
There you go. The only 3 that known to exist.
That were actually signed by Coach.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. For now, for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth.